Good Neighbours started as, you guessed it, neighbors, with bandmates Oli and Scott having studios next to each other in East London. With the release of their new single, Keep It Up, Good Neighbours is only just getting started. This is the Spout podcast where famous people spout off about more than what they're famous for. And today, that's Good Neighbours.
I was going to introduce you guys as Good Neighbours, but first thing on the screen I see is Scotty Too Hottie. So we got to start there. Scott and Oli, Good Neighbours, a.k.a. the gentleman behind one of the most viral songs in the world right now. How are we feeling?
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine, especially the last 24 hours, too. You just put out the music video, the live performance video, live from the neighborhood of home.
Yeah, we realized that no one has ever seen us. They've just heard the sound and the song. So we were like, what's the best way to engage people with, like, Good Neighbours? So we just thought, put the two songs out, and also it's one song at the moment, but the live performance, just so people can actually see us play and see it's a real thing.
Well, I wouldn't be a music journalist if I didn't immediately jump on the two-song thing. I know you've been putting out the tease for Keep It Up.
Yes.
What can you tell me about this track?
Well, that was the first one we actually posted. Like, we didn't have Home until, I guess, start of this year. Like, we hadn't even written that. Whereas we've been sitting on Keep It Up for, like, I guess we wrote it in, like, August. So, yeah, to finally get this one out feels good for us because we've had it for a minute.
What's it like to sit on a track for that long? Because first of all, let's rewind for a second before you answer that. You guys aren't new to this. Good Neighbours is a new project, right? But you're both independent artists and producers in your own right. Oli, I didn't even realize I had you on my playlist. When I was doing my research for this, I was like, oh, honey, like that. I've had that song on my playlist for 2 years now.
Nice.
And then, of course, Scott, I'm going through the Kwasa project, Native back in the day. I think I found an old cover of you doing Valerie, Mark Ronson.
Oh yeah?
No one needs to
We
see
dug
that.
deep, man. So all of that to say, we're not new to this. Just the project itself is a little bit newer. But yeah, you've been working on this music for so long. So what's it like to write something in almost a year ago, August, and then now it's finally being heard by people and in a massive scale?
It's been really nice, to be honest. Like, we basically stumbled upon this project by working together on other people's, and we didn't really feel like anyone was tapping into like the music that we loved growing up, which was just like MGMT, Foster the People area. And so when we started making that, it was nice because no one knew we were doing it. It was behind closed doors and there was no pressure. So it was just like free writing without any timelines or any people like leaning over you to see what was happening. So it's kind of stressful now being like, we've had these songs
I was going to ask,
for like 6 months, but at the same time, we're so happy that we had the freedom to create. And just to then now be putting it in the world, like quite confident in the songs because we've lived with them for so long.
Yeah, it used to be a pretty common question for artists. A lot of people would say the hardest thing about writing a second album is following up, the success of the first. You guys don't even have an album or an EP. It's the song. Literally the first single that people have heard is not just a song that people like, by the way. It's a hook. It's a 10, 20 second whistle pitch of a hook that people are like, wait, that's now the visual of my life. How are we doing under this stress? Are we okay? Do we need to check in? Do we need to do some breathing? Are we okay?
Right now we're kind of collected. We're good. We definitely had like a week maybe like a month where we were just like rolling, not sleeping, like running on adrenaline. But now, we've kind of come to terms with it, and
we've started the journey now. So I think like Home was just like the best start, like you say, to a project. But it's like the keys are in the engine. And then me and Scott are now just like, when can we put everything else out? And like, how can we figure it out? And how can we just play all these shows? Because we're getting people like in Australia that want us to go and play shows. So we're trying to work out all the logistics at once.
Bonkers.
Yeah, we're catching up with the song basically.
Which is such a cool thing to do in general. Do you remember the moment where you were, what you were doing, and you're like, oh, this isn't just getting a couple of views. This is starting to, you start pulling the refresh again and again and again. You're like, this is catching.
Yeah, it was, we went away in January to write like for a week just away from London. And at the end of that week, we were just trying TikTok for like the first time. And so one of our friends had said, "Oh, just put like the most instant chorus you have." And Home at the moment, like the story was taking place, was just a chorus. There was no song around it. But we were like, that one's pretty like on the nose of just start straight on the one. So we put that on TikTok. And it did like, I remember it doing like 20,000 views. And we were like, if it does any more than 20,000, we'll get ourselves like a pint. And then it just went to like 40,000. And then we fell asleep. And then the next morning we woke up to like 200,000. And then we were just like, oh my God, this is crazy. So we called our manager and we're like, can we put this song out? Like, we feel ready to put this out.
Right.
And he was like, how fast does it move then? And we said sort of like 200,000. By the time we finished the call, it was like 500,000. And then we were like, get in the car, drive back to London. We need to like finish the song. And by the time we got to London, which was like maybe 5 hours later, it was on like 1.5 million or something on TikTok. But that was just the sound. So then we were in the studio just like working in retrospect, trying to write this song around a chorus and mix it and put it out. And we did it within 4 days. So it's pretty quick.
Wow.
I mean, we even like.
I'm assuming you didn't keep up with the
service stations, like the gas stations, on our way home to try and like bounce out stems to get mixed.
Like, so stressful.
It was chaos.
Working remote, literally from the road.
Literally, yeah.
And I'm assuming we didn't keep up with, a pint every 20,000 views.
Honestly, yeah.
Rough recovery.
Yeah, I'm glad we nipped that in the bud when we did, because that would have been a slippery slope.
To see the process that is, write a song in reverse in the rear view, both, from a dual intent purpose there. Is it frustrating at all? Because you've spent so much time in the industry having success in your own right, but to finally give in to the pressure of TikTok, of the social media, quote unquote, way of releasing a song and seeing it hit?
I think like we loved that chorus. So like to go for that to blow up and that be the one that we have to go back to was just like giving us an incentive to finish it. I think if it was something like we didn't like that happened to take off, that would be annoying. But like we were gassed on that
So
chorus
that's
anyway.
the worst one. Why?
Yeah, but that happens to a lot of people. I think like we haven't had that, but
Yeah,
it was a good one for it to happen on because we needed to finish it, and it gave us a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about the cinematography behind this, because I can already tell. When you just listen to a song like Home, or even the tease that is Keep It Up that we've heard so far, I'm someone that hears and sees things in the third person a lot. So when I hear music, I kind of already see myself in a music video. And then when you guys put out, even just you running through the neighborhood, up the stairs, doing the live performance, I spent a lot of time in London, in Borough Market, and then out in Brighton 2 years ago for a summer. And suddenly that song became that, it scored all of those videos to me. And now I have to go make that on TikTok. But talk to me about the visuals and how the visuals inspire lyrics, or the lyrics inspire visuals. Which comes first?
Yeah, so like when we started the project, like I say, there was no brief. It was just me and Scott writing as an exercise. And the reason we're Good Neighbours is we've got 2 studios next door to each other. So
I love that.
I went into Scott's room and he's got a screen behind his setup. I just got a Mubi account that had like all of the A24 films, and I was like, let's just like put them on loop. And Scott's always written to visuals, and I never had, so it's the first time I was doing it, and it's just like it immediately gives you context to whatever you're doing, and you're no longer sort of shooting into space. You're shooting to, like, we were writing to a film called Closer, and we've always done that with all of the songs, and it just sort of, it makes us a bit braver, I think, sonically. So like Home, I think, could have easily sat on just a piano, but then we were like, what if we got like an omnichord like you hear in some of the old 80s films and put that in the verse instead? And it's definitely like educated us on how to make things cooler and like more cinematic. And I truly think like all these songs that are coming, they live in a world that I haven't heard before, which is really cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you said A24, because I think the amount of comments that were asking when this is going to be part of Euphoria is just, off
Fingers
the walls. I love the meet cute, almost relationship-esque work professionalism that is, well, I mean, everyone wants that, right? You want to meet that partner on a train reading a book or working next to them in a cubicle or something. And you guys kind of have that from a professional standpoint of this project game. We're friends. We work next to each other. Why don't we just work with one another?
Yeah, it's quite funny.
It's nice just to make music for the sake of making music.
Yeah. Oli, you were talking about, you've never really written to visuals. Scott, you have. Scott, what have you picked up by working with Oli?
I think like this is the first project I've done where like we haven't overthought anything. Like Ollie's quite a quick mover and I'm quite a slow mover. Like I'll overthink things and he doesn't think anything through. So we have quite a nice balance of like, yeah, just getting things done quickly. We've done a lot of the recordings are done on like iPhones. Like the drums on home is just iPhone mic. The piano is iPhone mic.
Yeah, piano, guitar, and drums are all iPhone.
Yeah.
Just because that's like the easiest way to keep the momentum and to stay with, like in that like fizz of the energy. I think the minute you start,
you can always transpose it later, but you just need something written down immediately.
100%, and also just like there's no better way to kill a vibe than being like, where did I put that XLR cable?
Yeah.
And it's just like both of you are bending down, just trying to like look under cupboards and stuff, and it just the song is gone. I think it's so nice to be like, oh, we should do drums, like blah blah blah. I run out the room, go and play the drums, bring them back in, and then Scott puts them in, and it's just like, and it's like yes anding, I guess, while you're writing.
Yeah, improv.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. You've both been doing this for more than a few years now. What kind of production techniques did you start off with? Maybe, you know, everyone kind of has, like you were just saying, the iPhone. It was very basic. It was very simple, GarageBand. Now, obviously, we have better resources at our fingertips. What are some of the things, let's get nerdy for a second, from a production standpoint. They're like, yes, finally, I have access to this. Maybe there's some support from a label or from management. You guys finally get to do certain things. And then what other production techniques are you like, no, I'm always going to record the sound of a cardboard box or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think we're just, honestly, like, we're reversing in our productions. Like, we're getting more and more janky. Like, I think we got to the point where we're doing like pop productions where it's super clean, you know, really nice like condenser mics, and then now with this it's like we really miss indie music with like flaws and like even Keep It Up with the releasing this week, that's not on a tempo grid, like we did that off grid, so it's like we're getting less and less like professional with our production.
It's quite funny
I'm
when
sure
you
that's
get...
not going to make your live band members hate you.
Honestly, and like when we're getting the tracks mixed at the moment, and I feel so bad. Like we finished one the other day, and it's like 70 tracks, and you would not think it's 70 tracks, but it's because every time we add to new tracks, and we don't ever think about like labeling anything. So you've got like 30 tracks that just say like the address because they come from a voice memo, and we're just like, I'm so sorry to the mix guy. Even with Keep It Up, he was like, sorry guys, I'm just trying to work out, is the BPM like 97? We're like, well, technically it's 97.4. It's so bad.
Yeah, just to break it down real fast for anyone hearing this, you know, when they say on the grid, usually you're working with a metronome or a click track of some kind, right? And you guys are just free playing, which is, you know, not quantized beats is a very common thing from the 60s, 70s, early 80s. And it's something that's come back, but usually people are doing it intentionally, or you work in a space where you, like you just said, you know someone's going to be mixing this later, so you're still trying to, you know, make that post-production a little bit easier. God bless your mixer. That honestly, sounds like a task.
Yeah, shout out Lee. He's smashing life for us, and it's really, really helped.
I love it. Talking about smashing life, and we'll end on this. I mean, obviously we're riding a high, but I like that you guys are still grounded. You're excited for what's next. We're really keeping, you know, it seems like attention to, let's keep that forward momentum. Let's not celebrate too much, not too many pints. But what are we doing when you do need to break out of that studio? Because I can tell you guys radiate music, right? It is your passion. What other passions do we have when you're just like, I need a beat?
I think we're both pretty into our running. That's all like one thing we'd always meet on, which is just like stressed, anxious, what do I need, and like running from all of it. I guess not in a mental way, but in a physical way has helped both of us massively. And like we got to go to America a month ago, and it's the best way to like see these new places. Like I'd never been to New York, and then Scott was like, well, let's go for this like huge 10K run, and we just like went straight into the heart of New York and saw it that way. But that for me personally is like the best stress reliever, and also kind of nice to just take your like earphones out and just hear the street and hear nothing else, because like music, I guess, can get a bit invasive sometimes.
How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean that says it perfectly. I think we spend like 80% of our lives in like windowless studios, like small boxes, so anything just to get outside and like breathe some real air. is what we need.
I love the running, to explore a city, because that's how I learned London to some degree. I was staying with a friend in Borough Market, which is great. It's super central, but I don't know how to connect anything where the Thames is, where anything is. And when I lived in New York, that's how I discovered it too. Similar to you,
Nice.
Ali. It was just like, let's go for a run. But do you remember where you were running in New York? Can you give me any landmarks?
Yeah, the bit that I loved, we ran through like Greenpoint and all of that area.
Yeah.
And that was
Brooklyn,
beautiful. Like I could move there in a heartbeat. And it's also just so much cheaper running everywhere. That's the best plus.
You'll save on the Uber tax for sure.
100%.
Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm super excited. I know this will be just one of many times we get to catch up, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But keep it up. By the time this is released, I think it's safe to say people will be able to stream that and hear that.
Yes.
Obviously, Home is out. Do we have any, just give me vague timelines, a project, or are we going to keep doing singles right now? What are we looking towards?
We've got an EP coming, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got, I think it's like 4 or 5 tracks that we're getting ready to put
Yeah.
out someday in the future. Hopefully not
Someday.
Down, yeah.
We're teasing them out slowly.
Final question, because you guys did capture, or at least it appears to have captured the moment that, Ali, you first sang that Home hook, right? Do you have pressure now in this social media world to constantly have the iPhone on? It's like, no, turn the camera on, so we have it.
I think we're trying to be like, that was genuinely so authentic, that video. And anytime we've ever tried to like recreate it, we can't bring ourselves to post it. We're lucky that we film each other a lot, like within the studio space. So I'm sure
It's not invasive at all.
there's it's all good.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do it again.
do the thing. But no, I think like there's a few moments we're just waiting for the tracks to be like coming out so that we can actually post them and have them take their place.
And then they can have their A24 moment.
Oh
for
baby,
sure.
yeah, can't wait.
Oh, baby. We're on the hook. Scott, Oli, better known as Good Neighbors. Guys, I appreciate you taking the time. Be well, all right?
Thanks,
Mate,
man.
thanks so
Appreciate it.
much.